On July 10th, 2020, a man walked into a local Iowa Walmart and purchased bottles of bleach. To the shopkeeper, this was just another ordinary transaction. Little did he know, the man's son's half-sister had been missing for the past 10 hours.
Henry, you don't know where your daughter is, you don't know your address, and you don't know your phone number.
As the clock ticked away, guilt weighed heavily on the man's heart, pushing him to conceal his crime. But fate had other plans that day.
Henry Dinkins is charged with first-degree murder and kidnapping.
Welcome, or welcome back, to my channel. I may not have many followers, but your comment is a beacon of hope for me.
What's up, Henry? So when was the last time you saw her?
She was in the house.
Yeah, when was the last time you saw her?
9:30.
Last night?
9:30.
Okay. Okay.
With him.
Okay. When was the last time you saw her?
She was in the bed when I woke up this morning.
She was in the bed?
Yeah.
When you went to bed last night?
When the police arrived at the crime scene, they immediately noticed Henry Dinkins' nervous body language, which seemed to reveal more than he intended, betraying his attempt to conceal a horrific crime.
Okay.
This is crazy, man. This is like, you know what I'm saying? I know she fucking going fucking hysterical, big brother.
Yeah. D-I-N.
K-I-N-S.
Your date of birth, Henry?
August 2nd, 72.
Is this your home address?
No.
What's your address?
It's down by Boston Arena.
I just
Yeah, I just know down.
You don't know your
I don't know the
address?
full address.
Do you know your phone number?
Hell no, I don't even know that either. I swear to God, I don't.
Henry, you don't know where your daughter is, you don't know your address, and you don't know your phone number.
No, for real. I'm finna
So,
give it to you
buddy,
now. You think I'll be lying, but
well, no, it's just, it's kind of
because
a,
I don't call myself.
I know, but you gotta know your number.
His son's half-sister had come over for a sleepover, unaware that it would be her last. Suspecting foul play, the police brought him in for interrogation. Today, we delve into the psychological aspects of his questioning.
I'm glad you're able to make it down.
I was gonna come down, man.
It just makes it easier. We just can make contact with you right away.
But I was right there with the officer when he called.
Yeah, but then you left.
Because she left, and
Who left?
Aisha, and it made me mad because she was, basically blaming it all on me. But
In the opening moments of the interrogation, Henry Dinkins begins with a display of cognitive dissonance. His internal discomfort is evident as he struggles to align his answers with reality. He's clearly aware that he's under suspicion, and his hesitation to speak plainly indicates the mental conflict between his desire to conceal the truth and the pressure to appear innocent. His nervousness makes the officers even more suspicious.
crazy, man.
Okay. So let's start out with yesterday.
Yesterday.
Or did you have the kids prior to that? Well,
No, yesterday, Lil Dink wanted to come with me.
Okay. So let's backtrack there. Lil Dink is
Notorious.
okay, and he is
My son.
your son,
And
and that's with
Aisha.
Aisha. And Notorious' last name is
I don't know what last name she got.
okay. How do you spell his first name?
Detorious.
And then you
It should
have
be Mosley. Yeah, I'm
Notorious Mosley, and his mother is Aisha Langford.
Aisha Langford.
Okay, and then do you have any other biological?
No, I raised Bree Asia.
As Dinkins talks about his relationship with Bree Asia, there's a noticeable inconsistency in his statements. This is a classic sign of deceptive behavior. When someone lies, their story often lacks the fluidity and coherence of truth. His attempt to present himself as the concerned father figure is also a form of emotional manipulation, trying to pull on the officer's sympathies, but it's not working. His defensiveness only creates more doubt in the officers' minds.
So Notorious Briasia are kind of what you consider your
My
kids.
kids,
Is that
they're
fair
my
to say?
kids. They're my kids.
Okay. And so Did you pick them up yesterday, or when did you pick them up from Aisha, or how did that exchange go?
I'm trying to stay cool right now. Me and Aisha, I had seen them, and they said they wanted to come and spend time with me.
What do you mean
Yesterday.
Okay. And where at?
I don't even remember.
Dinkins' inability to recall key details, like the time he picked up the children or what car he drove, is an example of selective memory, often used by offenders to distance themselves from their actions. Psychologically, it's a defense mechanism, a form of avoidance coping. This tactic allows him to protect himself from guilt and the emotional weight of his actions. His discomfort escalates as the officers press for more specific answers.
But they wanted to spend time with me. And, you know me, I'm like, yeah, y'all can spend time. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. It's just like crazy.
Dinkins' responses become more erratic as the officers continue to dig into his story. His evasiveness is a common trait in pathological liars, who often employ shifting stories as a way to control the narrative. This defense mechanism is meant to confuse the interrogators and reduce the likelihood of getting caught in a lie. His emotional inconsistency also signals a high level of anxiety, a response rooted in fear of exposure.
This is crazy.
So, what time did you see them yesterday?
I don't even remember.
Was it early in the morning, late in the evening?
It was probably around in the afternoon sometime.
And this was at Aisha's house.
I don't remember where we was talking, but I picked them up at Aisha's mom's house.
You picked them up from Aisha's mom's house at approximately what
I don't
time?
remember what time, sir.
Like evening, what time of day?
Well, I think it was around the evening time.
Evening time. So you picked them up from Aisha, and what car were you in when you picked them up?
Here, Dinkins becomes visibly defensive and frustrated, a classic response when someone's guilt is being exposed. His focus on blaming his ex-girlfriend, Aisha, for his troubles is a form of projection. He's externalizing his guilt by attributing blame to others. This tactic helps him avoid confronting his own role in the crime. It's a psychological move, often seen in individuals under stress and in situations where they feel cornered.
I don't know. I think it was the Impala. I don't know. I don't remember. It probably was the Red. I don't know.
Okay. And then, so you pick them up, bring them back here. Well, bring them back up. Do you take them straight to your mobile home, or
no?
What you guys do? Just run me through your day.
We went to my
before you
cousin's
come out.
house. We went down to my cousin's house, and they played with my little cousins, and they wanted to go.
What cousin's house was that?
At Vince.
Oh, Vince. Okay. And where's he live?
On Taylor.
The contradictions in Dinkins' story continue to mount, a clear indication of cognitive dissonance at play. He's uncomfortable with the lies he's telling, but he's unable to stop himself from lying further to avoid detection. As the story falls apart, his anxiety levels increase, showing that the pressure of maintaining a false narrative is too much to bear. The more he tries to maintain control, the more his psychological defenses crumble.
Taylor and what?
Between 6 and 6.
You know the exact address or no?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But I guess they wanted to go to the house, so we went to the house. They started playing the games at the house, and then they took their showers, and then they got into bed. You know, me and Andrew laid down. I got up. I left. Came back.
What time did you leave around?
I don't even remember, sir. I mean,
And what the sleeping arrangements? How is that? Like who sleeps where in the house? And
I mean, the kids were in Andrew's room.
okay,
Me and Andrew was sitting out in the living room.
okay.
We was in the living room, and I had left and came back. And then when I left, I think I went down to Lil Ben's house, but nobody was there. And when I came back, you know, I did a little look around. I didn't see Bree.
As the officers continue to press him, Dinkins grows increasingly frantic. His avoidance of direct answers is a form of deflection, a classic manipulative tactic in criminal psychology. He's trying to control the conversation by offering vague responses and shifting focus to irrelevant details. This type of behavior is linked to manipulative personalities, individuals who use their charm or deceit to create confusion and avoid the truth coming out.
No, that wasn't that time. I don't remember. No, that's a lie. That's a ball-faced lie. It wasn't even at that time. What time was it? I don't ever look at the time, so I mean, I'm really confused with the time. But I know when I went and looked for Bree, so I only seen Lil Dink in the bed. Okay. And I left. So I went like moving around and I
left left the apartment?
Like the apartment, yeah, and went like out and about, you know, where she was living. And out there in I don't know the apartment buildings out there. I don't know.
At this stage in the interrogation, Dinkins begins narrating his actions, but his responses are riddled with contradictions, which immediately raise red flags for the detectives. In criminal psychology, detectives are trained to recognize when a suspect is trying to hide the truth by offering conflicting information. Dinkins' nervousness and inability to maintain a clear timeline suggest that he's aware his actions are suspicious, but is struggling to construct a coherent story. Detectives exploit this uncertainty by asking pointed questions, knowing that guilty suspects often become inconsistent when trying to fabricate a narrative.
How many hours do you think was between when you first got there and then you left the apartment?
Probably like about 3-4 hours.
Okay.
So,
yeah, around
figure.
And so then you leave, but is everyone still in those same like kind of areas when you leave?
No, when I was there.
When you left?
Yeah, when I left, ain't nobody came out of no room.
Yeah, everyone was.
Everybody was still, you know, situated. Notorious was before I left. Notorious was still playing the game, and I went in there, and he said he was done playing the game, so I turned the TV off, and he went to sleep. And then, you know what I'm saying, I went in another room.
As Dinkins continues, his emotional detachment becomes apparent. Despite his concern, he struggles to provide clear details about the timeline, avoiding specific times and events. This reluctance to focus on the missing child and his focus on his own responsibility might indicate guilt-driven psychological distancing, as he's reluctant to confront the reality of his actions.
Like, I was scared you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, wow, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? But I didn't think it was like this serious. You know what I'm saying? I really was like confused.
Okay. And so you get back, and then
can
we put a time frame in between at least? Like, are we talking like 10 to 11 at night? Or are we talking like
after hours? It was
like,
probably after hours. It was probably like closer. I don't remember the time. I'm not gonna.
12 to 2.
I didn't even. The reason why I don't remember the time is because I didn't have my phone.
Gotcha. Where was your phone at?
It was sitting right there on the table, and I mean.
What do you mean sitting right there on the table?
It was sitting right there. Well, not on the table, I think it was sitting on a ledge.
In the apartment?
In the apartment.
Dinkins' shifting statements, like not knowing the time or the location of his phone, could be a sign of dissociation, a coping mechanism often used by those trying to detach themselves from distressing emotions or memories. He seems unable to recall key details, which might be his mind's way of protecting him from facing the full weight of the situation.
And then, when I came back, I grabbed Dink, you know, and I'm like, man, he's like, Dad, where is Bree? I said, I don't know. He's like, and then we rolled around, and I texted his mom. When I texted his mom, she was at work, and she was like, hey, Bree's missing. She's like, well, stop playing with me. You know what I'm saying? Stop playing with me, Henry. So I'm like, man, no, I'm not playing. I'm for real. And she was like, stop playing with me. And I said, look, man, I'm not playing. So I gave Dink the phone. Dink told her, like, Mom, you know, we don't know where she at. So then he handed me the phone back, and I'm like, I got to talk to him. I'm like, man, your mom mad at me. He said, Dad, I don't understand why Mom mad at you.
Dinkins' defensive response, when questioned about the missing child, highlights emotional manipulation. Instead of focusing on Bree Asia's disappearance, he blames Aisha for not believing him. His projected frustration suggests that he's more concerned with defending his actions than addressing the crisis at hand, revealing how ego defense mechanisms can lead someone to avoid accountability.
You know, you haven't done nothing. I'm like, but I'm still responsible. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm like, don't know what to say or do. So then me and her met up, and she was like,
You and Aisha met up?
Yeah.
Where at?
At Burger King.
Okay.
And Aisha was like really upset, and I said, you know what I'm saying, I understand how you're coming. I feel what you're saying right now, but you stressing out right now. It's not going to help us out right now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We have to figure this shit out. So I was like, well, you're responsible, and it made me feel so fucking bad because, I am responsible, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
At this point, Dinkins is growing visibly more anxious. His inability to recall key facts and his shifting emotions, going from frustration to guilt, show the internal conflict he's experiencing.
But like I said, I was like lost. Didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to say to her. I was lost for words. I couldn't even talk to her really. And she was yelling and screaming. And then she said, I'm gonna call somebody to come out there to Andrew's apartment. I said, okay. You know what I'm saying? So we went out there. When the dude approached, you know what I'm saying?
The dude as in?
The officer.
Okay.
Man.
So did you call 911?
No, she did. I told her I was going to go to the police station at first. She said, no, let's go to the apartment.
As Dinkins is asked about his actions, his answer becomes increasingly defensive. The psychological tactics here are typical of someone trying to avoid responsibility. Dinkins uses deflection, talking about his actions, but not about the child, to divert attention away from his role in her disappearance. This is a common sign of someone trying to manage the consequences of their actions by redirecting focus.
Well, we can call at the apartment, you know what I'm saying? And Aisha was like, because first I'm thinking like, she ain't really missing. You know what I mean? Something, you know what I'm saying? Maybe something, I don't know. But once it really set in that can't nobody find her, that's when it hit me. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's missing. You know what I mean?
So did you call 911 or did
Aisha did.
Okay, you didn't call 911.
No, because
And Aisha called with her own phone?
I'm not for sure, so I don't know.
Did Aisha ever have your phone?
I called Aisha first because I was really.
But did Aisha ever have possession of your phone?
No.
Okay.
The conversation between Dinkins and the officers highlights his avoidant behavior. Instead of confronting the seriousness of the situation, Dinkins distracts himself and the officers by talking about his movements and his discomfort with Aisha's reactions. This attempt to control the narrative shows an emotional shutdown, where he refuses to engage with the real issue at hand, the disappearance of Asia.
Gotcha. Where was your phone at?
It was sitting right there on the table, and
What do you mean sitting right there on the table?
it was sitting right there. Well, not on the table, I think it was sitting on a ledge.
In the apartment?
In the apartment. It was
But you were in the apartment, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No, but when I left, I didn't have my phone.
When you left to
Go down to Little Vincent's.
Little Vince's, okay. But then you got back.
Then I got back.
Okay.
And then I left again. I left twice.
And where did you leave for the second time, or what was that?
I think I went to the quick shop. Got a pack of cigarettes or something like that.
What do you remember? What quick shop?
Quick shop on 53rd.
As Dinkins continues to talk about searching for Asia, his narrative becomes increasingly fragmented. This emotional numbness is a typical sign of someone trying to block out the emotional impact of their actions. He's focusing more on his own confusion than on the urgency of finding the missing child. This can be explained by emotional repression, a defense mechanism to avoid confronting difficult feelings.
Head back, and then it's after that is when you noticed Briasia's wasn't there. Then you go outside, you check first around the apartment area.
And I didn't see her.
You didn't see her. Then you check some of the nearby streets.
Didn't see her.
Didn't see her.
That's when I panicked. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I knew Aisha was still asleep, so I really didn't want to call her until I knew that she got up.
Okay.
So when I called her, you know what I'm saying, she was up, but she was at work.
Where does she work at?
I don't know.
Okay.
I know it's a fast food place.
Okay.
And when I talked to her on the phone, she was like, quit playing with me. You know what I mean? Stop playing. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm not playing with you, man. I'm keeping this shit real. Because at first she thought it was a joke. And I told her, this is not a joke.
As the detectives ask about his whereabouts, they use redirected questioning to observe his reactions. Dinkins repeatedly evades direct questions, showing signs of hesitation. Detectives know that by asking him to recount details, they can pick apart his story and expose inconsistencies. The detectives remain calm, allowing Dinkins to incriminate himself with his uncertain answers.
And you just left your phone in the apartment when you went out?
I really wasn't thinking about the phone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, no, for sure.
That wasn't a priority. And I was getting ready to leave my phone when I grabbed a little dink, because, you know what I'm saying, but that's when Andrew said, Henry, take your phone. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, where is it? You know what I'm saying? And then that's when I grabbed my phone.
Gotcha.
And then
That's how you were able to
communicate then.
with Aisha.
Right.
But you never called 911?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Because I really wasn't, you know what I'm saying? It was like, I really wasn't for sure. I didn't count it down. I should have dialed 911, but I really wasn't for sure, you know what I mean? So I didn't dial 911.
Dinkins' reaction when asked why he didn't call 911 is a key moment for the detectives. They focus on this lack of action, using it to build a case against him. By repeatedly questioning why he didn't take immediate steps to involve the authorities, they pushed Dinkins into a guilt-ridden state. The detectives are keenly aware that people who are guilty often avoid calling 911 to avoid immediate consequences or attention to their actions.
So then you met at Aisha at McDonald's, and then did you guys ride together? Well, not in the same car, but
we
followed each other
rode
up to the...
We rode up to the apartment, and that's when Lil Dink came out and said, Dad, the officer's outside. I said, okay, I'm coming outside. So I went outside, and that's when Aisha got kind of like a little frustrated, I would say. And he was trying to tell us, like, give me information. I'm like, who?
The officer. Gotcha.
He was like, give me information, you know what I'm saying? Aisha, she was so mad, she didn't even want to give him information. I'm like, you got to get a man information. You have to, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know what I'm saying, she walked away. That's when I walked away, because I was just as mad, you know what I'm saying? Like, is you fucking serious? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I call her.
Okay.
I'm like, you know what I'm saying? And it made me mad, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, what the fuck, man? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, who doesn't give the fucking information? I don't have no picture of Bree. You know what I'm saying? I have just like 1 or 2 pictures, period, in my phone with Lil Dink. You know what I'm saying? I used to have a lot of pictures of him in other phones, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't have them in this phone.
Okay.
So,
So you took Taurus with you, and then you met Aisha at McDonald's.
yes.
So you get back to the apartments. How does Dink come out of the apartment when he's supposed to be with you and Aisha at the McDonald's?
At this stage, the detectives use a more direct confrontation approach. They press Dinkins on his inconsistent timeline and increasingly evasive behavior. The goal here is to provoke an emotional response and catch him in a lie. The detectives know that guilty individuals often become agitated when their stories are questioned, and by showing Dinkins that they're aware of his lies, they're trying to push him toward confession.
No, that's not what I said. I said, Lil Dink, when the officer, him and Aisha was sitting in the car, when the officer came, Lil Dink came up and said that the police officer's here. That's when I came down.
Came down from?
Downstairs.
So you were in the apartment
when the officer got there.
Okay. So you arrived before the officer?
Huh?
So you arrived before the officer?
Yes.
Okay. You and Taurus both arrived.
Matter of fact,
the way you made it sound for is that you walked up and...
No. Me and Aisha made it there. Aisha got the number off the building and had them come.
What number off the building?
Because they got numbers on the
Oh, like the address number.
address. Yeah, they got the numbers on the building.
Okay.
And like I said, I didn't even know the number. You know what I'm saying? I still don't know the number.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But like I said, that's when Lil Dick came up and said that a police officer. I'm like, okay, I'm coming down.
Detectives continue to employ tactical silence. By letting Dinkins talk, they're allowing him to dig himself deeper into his lies. Silence in an interrogation room is a powerful psychological tool. It creates tension and forces the suspect to fill the void. Dinkins begins to ramble, and in his attempts to explain away his contradictions, he inadvertently exposes more of his guilt.
I was just riding, you know, just looking around, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Do you remember what parts specifically, like some places that you've checked or names of businesses? Did you make it downtown here at all?
I came all the way. I went through the whole Quad City there, man.
Did you go back to your mobile home at all?
Yes, me and Lil Dick went down
You this morning?
there. Yeah. Once we was looking, you know what I'm saying? We got to looking, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, I needed to grab. What was it that I grabbed up under there? I think it was a couple dollars, whatever it was that I needed. Some money.
So
Because I was starting.
Was that before or after you saw Aisha?
I saw Aisha. I don't remember, man. I don't know, man. I really don't know.
The detective's strategy becomes clear. They are wearing Dinkins down. His contradictions, his increasingly defensive responses, and his emotional outbursts are all signs that he is beginning to crack. The detectives stay calm, knowing that his mental exhaustion will eventually break him. They're not pushing for a confession yet. They're simply waiting for him to voluntarily incriminate himself, which is often the key to breaking a suspect.
I mean, shit. It was. I seen Aisha. Me and Dick went out and then we seen Aisha.
Okay.
Because I was starting to get low on gas, and I needed to grab a few dollars so I could have. That's why I got my body. You know what I'm saying? That's so I can continue to like just ride. You know what I mean? And just continue. I was like I said, I was gonna ride until I couldn't ride no more. You know what I mean? So.
And then so Aisha makes contact with you over the phone, and you're down.
I made contact with Aisha.
Yeah, you called her after.
Then
was there a reason why you weren't answering your phone?
As the detectives continue the interrogation, they use a slow, methodical approach to disorient Dinkins. By asking him about his movements and slowly pressing for specific details, they're testing his memory and looking for inconsistencies in his story. Dinkins' vague responses and failure to recall crucial events are classic signs of cognitive avoidance, which the detectives are using to their advantage.
Or text messages or anything?
No, because
Is everyone trying to get a hold of you?
No, not at this time. Not at this time. My phone be acting up sometimes.
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what the fuck it is about this phone, but sometimes I gotta text people first in order to call them, and I don't understand that.
Okay. And then so how is your car not here? You know what I mean?
I came straight here.
I get that, but the car that you were driving was the Impala, and the Impala's not here.
I didn't say I was driving the Impala.
Well, you came in the Impala.
I never said I was driving the Impala.
So you left the apartments in the Impala, right?
Yes.
Okay. So at what point did you not have the Impala anymore?
What do that got to do with the Impala?
When asked about the car he was driving, Dinkins becomes defensive and vague. The detectives notice his hesitation, which is a psychological sign that he's evading the truth. They understand that guilty individuals often become defensive when confronted with details that might expose their involvement. The detectives are trying to provoke Dinkins into a reactionary confession, knowing that he will continue to try and cover up the truth by evading details.
Because you left there in a vehicle, and that's.
I mean, I'm not trying to make it harder on you.
Yeah, I get it.
But I mean, literally, as for the situation with the driving aspect, you know.
I'm not looking for the driving. I'm looking for the car.
I'm keeping that solo with the.
No, that's fine. I'm more concerned about the car.
I mean, if you want to check the car, you can check the car.
Yeah, we would like to do that.
Yes,
probably.
you can,
Yeah.
without a problem.
Where is the car currently?
It's reachable.
Reachable as in.
I can get it to you guys at any time. That's basically what I'm saying.
And also to backtrack.
I mean, one thing about me, I mean, like I said, if I had any issues, I would have never came down. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm not gonna, pull, what I'm saying, no extra, but when it come down to how I feel about the drugs.
And I know that, but I'm not worried about that. I'm just trying to figure out
what I'm saying is
your back trail of when you left the police asked you to stay there and you left, and all of a sudden there's this car you left in, but now we don't know where the car is.
You
understand?
If you want to search the car, I can bring the car to search for you.
At this stage, the detectives are introducing distraction into the interrogation. By pressing Dinkins about his phone, his movements, and the Impala, they're subtly shifting the focus from his responsibility for Bree Asia's disappearance. The idea is to create confusion and push Dinkins into a position where he'll feel the need to clarify his actions. This psychological tactic increases the chances that he'll contradict himself under pressure.
You had the car and then you didn't. I just want to know where that transition took place.
It's reachable, bro. I just say it like that.
But you don't want to talk about how you eventually switched vehicles, or
never switched. I mean, that was like I ain't switched no vehicles.
Okay.
Why would I switch a vehicle?
But then so someone else was with you in the car?
Well, why would I switch vehicles? Where do you get to switch vehicles at?
Because so the Impala, you left the apartment, okay, and then now you're here at the station, but the Impala's not here.
It's around. I'll say it that way. It's around.
The detectives apply controlled escalation by questioning Dinkins about the car he drove and where it is now. They've already established his involvement with the vehicle, and by focusing on these details, they're tightening the psychological noose. The goal here is to create a sense of urgency in Dinkins' mind. He's being forced to explain inconsistencies in his story, which is increasing the pressure on him to confess.
So, this is the apartment complex, right? 2744. It's one of the ones up here. I believe it's that one. So, I don't know if you want to trace kind of like with the pen and trace where you went.
Bro, I don't know exactly where I went. That's why I'm not.
Did you stop at any places?
I don't remember. Okay.
Did you talk to anyone when you were out looking?
No, I was just looking. You know what I'm saying? Just looking. I've been through the whole area. Almost all of this area. Almost.
Detectives continue to employ guilt amplification by asking Dinkins about the actions of others. Aisha, his sister, and others who were supposedly looking for Bree Asia. This tactic is designed to make Dinkins feel the weight of the situation and his moral responsibility. By reminding him that multiple people were involved in the search, the detectives are pushing him to feel that the truth must come out, especially since others were also involved in trying to find the missing child.
I've been all through here.
And did you stop at any? Did you go inside while you're looking? Did you go stop anywhere and talk to anyone, ask them if they've seen someone? Do you remember any places that you did that with?
No, I didn't do that.
You didn't do that? Okay.
I just moved around.
Okay. So you were strictly in your car the entire time?
Moving around.
Okay. In the Impala, right?
Yes.
Okay. And when you got back the second time, when you saw Dink on the couch, did Andrea then say anything? Did Andrea ask anything or say anything to you?
The only thing she asked me is like, what's going on?
Okay.
That's all she said.
And then what did you tell her?
I didn't tell her nothing. I was just like, man, right now I'm frustrated. I'm looking. I should have said something to her, but I assumed that she knew some little Dink being on the couch.
Okay.
You know?
The detectives are now using a gradual buildup of tension. They ask about Dinkins' whereabouts and the timing of his actions, encouraging him to become more specific. As he continues to dodge their questions, they remain calm but firm, aware that suspects often start revealing more details when they feel overwhelmed. The detectives are creating an environment of psychological pressure, knowing that Dinkins is likely feeling the weight of his own lies.
And so, was there any texts going around like about this situation, or was it just the phone calls?
I think there was like one or two texts.
One or two texts?
If I'm not mistaken.
Okay. And so would you be fine if we downloaded the phone to have the call logs and the texts?
For what reason?
To corroborate everything here about the call logs and the text. It helps everyone out.
Download my phone.
To get the call logs to show that those calls were made at those certain times.
I can show you my phone. I can just show you my phone.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? You want to see? I can just show you my phone. I mean, I can just open up my phone and let you go on my phone.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
At this point in the interrogation, Dinkins becomes defensive when asked for access to his phone. The detectives notice his hesitation and secretiveness, which is a red flag. This is a common tactic used by detectives. They know that when a suspect refuses to provide information that can clear them, it often signals guilt. The detectives are using this resistance to heighten the pressure on Dinkins.
What's the passcode to your phone?
Just give me my phone and I'll open it up for you.
Okay. Well, you'll open up right in front of me.
Right, yeah, I'll open it right here. Cool. Thank you, son. Why are you looking at me to do my password?
Well, that's what I asked.
No, I said I will open it for you.
Yeah,
but
I'm
not going to give you my password.
Okay.
I will open it for you so you can look at my phone.
Dinkins insists on controlling access to his phone, offering to unlock it himself. The detectives, however, keep pushing for full access, knowing that the need for control often stems from conscious guilt. Dinkins' refusal to hand over the password and his reluctance to let detectives see the contents of his phone only raise suspicions. Detectives are keenly aware that this type of behavior is often seen in individuals trying to hide something.
But I'm not going to give you my password.
Okay. And then you're just going to lock it?
Yes, right after you finish looking.
Yeah.
I will let you look in there. I have no problem with you looking.
Okay.
That's something I don't have no problem.
Okay.
My name's not even on my phone.
You recently got this phone too, though, right? Yeah.
No, I had this phone for a minute, but
I thought, just a new phone number?
yeah, no, this number.
Because you said you didn't know it. That's what I was.
I don't know my number. All I know is 726.
When Dinkins continues to offer to unlock his phone, but avoids giving full access, the detectives recognize this as an attempt to manage the narrative. They're not simply looking for the information. What they want is Dinkins to feel increasingly cornered. The detective's calm, measured response is a tactical move designed to make Dinkins feel like he has no choice but to open up, allowing them to gain control over the situation.
Yeah, cool.
Now, what do you want to look at? I can show you anything and everything.
Was there... That's a couple days ago. Yeah.
No, that was from when I
Well,
got
Wednesday.
That's from when I got my kids to
So
the
you've had-
conversation when they went to bed. Where was it? I think it's good night, mom. You know what I'm saying? You know, good night, love you, Bree. That's what she was.
Well, good night, Mom.
You know what I'm saying? That's
Wait,
she,
what is good night, Mom, though? I don't...
That's good night, mom. That's the way she said good night, mom. Too.
Who says?
Bree. They didn't have no phone, so they was using my phone or they used the Android phone to use whatever.
But the phone number was to Lil Dink?
No, that's Aisha's phone, but
Oh.
it's my son, so I don't put her name in my phone.
That's the way you contact.
I contact him. You know what I'm saying?
That
I
makes sense.
don't contact her.
I got you.
As Dinkins becomes more defensive about his phone, the detectives use a calm approach to maintain control. Their questions about the phone and the search for evidence are deliberately posed to provoke guilt. They're laying the groundwork for Dinkins to feel that his refusal to cooperate is a sign of his involvement. The detectives know that the more pressure they apply, the more likely Dinkins is to make a mistake or reveal critical details.
I mean, I like I said, I have no problem showing you in my phone.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
But I guess where's the issue of like you just want to dictate of what we see or
No, I don't. No, I just like, you know what I'm saying? I look at it like I don't have no problem opening my phone for you. You know what I'm saying? I really don't.
Okay.
I don't have nothing. I don't have nothing to hide in my phone from you.
Okay.
Nothing. You know what I'm saying? Nothing at all. So that's the reason why I said I will open it for you.
Gotcha.
I just don't want nobody all in my phone. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it don't matter, but I just don't like people.
Well, it does. It does matter.
No, you missing what I'm saying.
Okay.
When I say it don't matter. When I say that, I'm saying like You know what I'm saying? If you right here in my presence, you can do what the heck you want with my phone.
Dinkins begins to explain away his actions and the inconsistencies in his story, which is often a sign of overcompensation. Criminal psychologists understand that when suspects over-explain minor details, they are usually trying to cover up a larger truth. The detectives are aware that Dinkins is attempting to shift the focus onto irrelevant details to avoid addressing the key issues, like his involvement in Bree Asia's disappearance.
And I don't have no issues with that, period. But these are my kids, bro. These are my kids. You know what I'm saying? These are mine.
Yeah.
I'm really like confused. Like, I wish I'd have been staying in my same state of mind where I was saying no all the time.
What do you mean by that?
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Aisha, I blocked her where she couldn't even call me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's
And
saying no.
why
Because me and her had bad communication sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Because of the person who she was talking to. You know what I'm saying? And it just caused love on. But now she's not talking to that person no more. So it opened up our communication again. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I just...
Anyone you can think of that would try to take Bree Asia?
The detectives notice that Dinkins' emotional responses begin to escalate, especially when he starts to express frustration about the situation. This emotional manipulation is a key psychological tactic. By encouraging Dinkins to focus on his anger and frustration, the detectives are hoping to provoke a reaction that will cause him to slip up. The more Dinkins gets worked up, the more likely it is he will reveal something critical about his role in the crime.
Why? For what reason?
I don't know. I'm asking you. You know better than I would, right?
The only person who would know better than me would be Aisha.
Yeah, but you can't think of anyone that would take her.
I can't see no reason why.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Bree's a good kid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She's a good kid. You know what I'm saying? She's definitely a good kid.
Okay.
Definitely a good kid.
Then, before, you might have mentioned, I might have missed it, when you went to Vince's, after y'all already went home from Vince's and you went back and you didn't get an answer at the door, what was the reason that you went back there?
That's where I be kicking it sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to, drink a beer.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Sit down, drink a beer.
Hang out
a little bit. Talk to, the yin yang. You know what I'm saying? That's as far as I go.
Okay.
For me.
So did you call ahead of time?
No, I don't know. Sometimes I call, but 99% of the time he don't answer his phone.
The detectives know that a guilt-ridden suspect often tries to present themselves as a victim. Dinkins repeatedly emphasizes his emotional distress and his feelings of being blamed, all while avoiding direct answers about the crime. The detectives allow him to vent, knowing it gives them insight into his mental state, while still carefully pressing him for contradictions. This psychological mirroring helps them further destabilize his narrative.
Okay. So I don't call. You know what I'm saying? That's why I just go. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I don't call him. I just go.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, my babies are good. You know what I'm saying? My son too. You know what I'm saying? They listen to me. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? All my kids listen to me. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have no problem with my kids. You know what I'm saying? At all. You know what I'm saying?
No behavioral issues, something like that.
The mom do. I don't have it. You know what I'm saying?
Like they're defiant
with mom,
yeah,
but not with me.
Gotcha.
Why? Probably because I'm more lenient.
Okay.
And I tend to give them what they want.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you want, the only way you can get something out of me if you're acting good. Mm-hmm. Good grades, respectful, doing the things you have to do. That's when you get stuff from me. Other than that.
Dinkins' attempts to deflect blame onto Aisha and others in his life suggest he's trying to project his own guilt onto others. Detectives understand that this is a classic defense mechanism often used by guilty individuals. By asking him about his relationship with Aisha and other details of his life, they're subtly using emotional triggers to further erode his defenses, knowing that once these defenses collapse, Dinkins will be more likely to confess.
You didn't get nothing from me. You know what I'm saying? And my kids know that. Mm-hmm. So, this is crazy, man. Yeah. I mean, this is like, I'm more hurt for Aisha. Because, you know what I'm saying, that, she had him. You know what I mean? And my baby mama, you know what I'm saying, like I said, I know she feels some type of way behind it. You know what I'm saying? But like I told her, you know what I'm saying? You know, she like, Henry, you should have more of a watch. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never have to watch my kids like that. You know what I'm saying? Never.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I used to keep her and Bree.
Yeah.
I mean, Bree ending. You know what I'm saying? I never have to. Because my kids, you know what I'm saying, we communicate. You know what I'm saying? So I really...
The detectives use the appeal to cooperation strategy, emphasizing that Dinkins' willingness to cooperate will help him and those around him. This is a calculated effort to manipulate his sense of responsibility. They play on his emotions, especially his guilt over Bree Asia's disappearance, in the hope that he will feel compelled to provide more detailed and truthful answers. The detectives know that this type of emotional leverage often leads to a breakdown in resistance.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because our communication was good all day.
With Bree?
With both.
With both as in?
Dink and Bree.
Yeah.
Both my kids been A1 all day.
Okay.
A1 all day, bro.
And then?
All day A1. And then I'm kind of like stopped up, congested a little bit too. So
Yeah, gotcha.
this is like.
Well, I can assure you there's a bunch of people right now with the department going out there. We're trying to do what we
I
can.
hope, pray to God that they find my baby. You know what I mean? Because
In the final moments of the interrogation, the detectives have successfully used psychological manipulation to break down Dinkins' resistance.
we need her home.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
We need her home.
Yep. And
This is, and I know, like I said, I know I blames me because I should have had more watch on. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
I know my baby mama. You know what I'm saying? She is like furious at me. Like I never seen her this mad at me ever.
Yeah.
But she got reasons.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's like if I would have had custody of my kids and not leave them over there and something happened, whether they bust a nose or get a scar or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
His repeated emotional appeals and contradictory statements show the stress of trying to maintain his lies.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not mad at Aisha. I'm just kind of salty that she won't really communicate with me.
And
You know what I'm saying? And that's fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Because her mom do. Even right now, you know what I'm saying? I was talking to Donita on the phone.
yeah.
And Donita, me and Donita 100, her mom.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And Donita loves me. You know what I'm saying? And the whole family do. You know what I'm saying? So, but I know what Aisha's going through, and it's just gonna take for her to.
And you know some things that could help with that, right? Of her not being so mad at you.
She is, though,
Is
bro.
hear me out here for a second.
At this point, the detectives are confident that Dinkins is feeling the weight of his actions.
To help ease some of that, or lessen it, or for us to be able to go input more to her, is that your cooperation goes a long way with us, and it also is not going to make her so mad at you, right? So like if she finds out that you know the whole passcode on the phone, it is what it is, whatever, she might question that.
They've created a situation where he's no longer in control, and his confession is just a matter of time.
Now, stunning testimony of the third day of trial for the man accused of kidnapping and killing 10-year-old Breasia Terrell. She disappeared in July 2020. Fishermen found her remains the following March. Henry Dinkins is charged with first-degree murder and kidnapping.
Henry Dinkins was sentenced on October 11th, 2023, to 2 consecutive life terms in prison without the possibility of parole for the first-degree murder and kidnapping of 10-year-old Breasia Terrell.
Henry Dinkins' 11-year-old son took the stand. He was there the night Breasia went missing. The two had been spending the night with Dinkins and his girlfriend at their apartment. He testified that his sister was gone when he woke up and that Dinkins took him to Walmart, where he waited in the car while Dinkins bought some bleach. While Dinkins was in the store, his son testified that he put the battery back into Dinkins' cell phone to play games because the battery was not in his phone. When Dinkins returned to the car, he says they went on a long car ride down a dirt road. And that's when he says he watched his father get out of the car and pour the bleach by some bushes. After that, he says his father drove him to his RV.
The sentencing took place in Scott County, Iowa, where Judge Henry Latham delivered the verdict. Dinkins was convicted after a bench trial, where the judge found compelling circumstantial evidence, including testimonies from Dinkins' son and his girlfriend, linking him to the crime.
What did the two of you do when you got to the RV?
He opened the trunk of the purple Impala and he grabbed out a bloody knife.
So he opened you said bloody knife?
A bloody knife, yeah.
From the trunk of his Impala?
Yes.
He went on to say that his father wiped the knife off with bleach and then put it in his RV. During cross-examination, he testified Breasia was with him and his dad the morning that she disappeared, a timeline the defense questioned several times, including questioning his memory. He later claimed that he was there and watched his father shoot Breasia. Listen in.
Either you were there when she was killed or you weren't.
I said, I guess.
I don't accept that answer, sir. Either you were there when she was shot or you weren't.
I was there. Damn.
So you were there.
Yes.
You saw your dad shoot Breasia Terrell.
Yes.
The case had garnered significant public attention due to the extensive search efforts following Breasia's disappearance in July 2020 and the subsequent discovery of her body in March 2021.